Hello, today we'll talk about OpenManage integration for VMware vCenter and how to troubleshoot management compliance issues. In order to check if any of our servers are having problems identifying information to OMIDB, we can click on the Compliance and Deployment section and scroll down to Management Compliance. As you can see, there are no servers listed in this view, which means that all my servers that are tied into OMIDB are compliant. For this example, I will trigger an error on the host so that we can troubleshoot WVM and WSMan issues. When hosts are not compliant, this is the view that we will get under Management and Compliance. All my servers will be listed there with a status of unknown for anything that may not be enabled or that OMIDB cannot detect. The first step that we can take to fix compliance on any of these hosts is to click on the Fix Compliance button available on this section. The Fix Compliance button will bring up a wizard that will allow you to fix the WVM configuration and SNMP traps for any of the hosts. Anything that needs to be fixed will be listed on this view. Any host that is compliant with all of these sections will not show up on this list. So you have the option of performing the actions of one or more hosts. As an example, if any of the iDRAC firmware was not compliant, for example, the minimum requirement is 252 for iDRAC 7 and 8, it would also give you an option to update the iDRAC firmware on this section. So in this case, I'm going to click on all my hosts, click Next. It will provide me a summary of the changes that will need to take place. Once those are confirmed, you can click on Finish, and then the wizard will attempt to fix those issues. The wizard may take a few seconds to several minutes depending on what needs to be fixed on each of the hosts. If the wizard completes the changes successfully, none of the hosts will show up in this view, which means that those hosts are compliant at this point. If there were any errors on any of the hosts, they will still show up on this view. Another way to confirm is if you click on Logs, you will see a summary of all the actions that took place, including setting up the trap destinations, and if WVM needed to be enabled, it would also be listed here. So in the case that you were troubleshooting whether a host had WVM enabled or not, you can do a filter search and it will tell you any of the steps that it completed. So in this case, for this host with this IP address, WVM was disabled, OMIDB set it to enabled. Once it obtained and gathered the information from the host, then it set it back to a disabled state. For troubleshooting purposes, you can actually log into that host via SSH and enable WVM if needed. In this case, I am going to log into one of the ESXi hosts and provide an example of what can be done in regards to WVM. In the case that WVM was set to disabled and the OMIDB appliance was unable to get any of the information, you can check the status by running this command, which is ESX CLI system WVEM get. If the service was disabled, you could rerun that same command, delete the get portion, perform a -- enable, and then set the value to true. Oh, in this case, it seems that I forgot the actual action, which is set. So WVM set, enable, and then true. Next, we can restart the Watchdog service just in case that there were any issues with that service. It provides management services for ESXi. In this case, I'm going to trigger a restart. And if in case there were any issues with WSMan, you could also run a command for WSMan, which is etc init.d WSMan and then start. In this case, OpenWSMan is already running, so there were no actions taking place. And at this point, we could go back to OMIB and attempt to fix compliance again by rerunning that wizard. Or we can go into the job section and go down to host inventory, click on your connection profile, and then click on run now. And at this point, it would run the inventory on all the hosts, and it will reach out to ESXi, the iDRAC, and obtain the information that it needs in order to obtain the inventory information for OMIB for those hosts. So at this point, we're done with this presentation. Thank you for your time and have a good day.